Didn't know that the honeymoon's just a phase. Now I understand, I learned it firsthand with you. Thought it would last forever. Oh, you should have loved me better. Should have loved me better, 'cause we might still be together before we split up. Always believed we would never.
Hi everyone. Okay? So, yeah. So, first of all, welcome to Italy. Benvenuti in Italia. My name is Laura. I'm going to be your guide for today. If at any point you have any questions, if you want me to repeat anything, absolutely no problem. Question for the Italians. Ci sono degli italiani? Ok? Va bene se facciamo anche in inglese? Ok. Se ha domande, senza alcun problema. So, before we start the journey, I just wanted to introduce to you the pavilion and why is it this way. So, for instance, we've noticed we have a very specific architecture, and we are covered, so the roof is made of 3 halves. So the bottom part of a boat, on the upside down. We're now under the first of the 3 halves, because first of all, this is a journey, and second of all, it reminds us of what Italian explorers did when they arrived to new lands. They had to find refuge, and when they couldn't find refuge, they flipped their boats upside down, and that boat became their home. The same home that we wanted to create here at EXPO Dubai 2020. Obviously, our home is an open and welcoming home. Everybody's welcome. At the same time, it's literally open. We don't have any outside walls. We are surrounded by 70 kilometers of ropes, all made with recycled plastic. And we can go up, because obviously this is a journey, so we start with different ingredients. We have the pavilion, so it's the geographical space, as the map reminds you of it, and then we go up and see the second ingredient for I just suggest that you come this way because unfortunately it's not rotating as it should. Okay, come this way. So, as I mentioned, second ingredient for the journey. We had space, now we have time. So what you see there on the bottom part, you can see it better from here. This is what we call a space atomic clock. Yeah. So it was made by the Italian company Leonardo, and it's the most precise clock ever created. It has 1 error of 1 second every 3 million years, so we probably won't see the next mistake. And you don't see a screen under that tells the time because it's connected to satellites from the European Space Agency, and those satellites are then connected to smartwatches or phones, so that's how we know the time from it. And you see the hourglass on the top, obviously not part of the clock, but a symbol, tradition and technology that come together to create the future, innovation. And we can go forward and recycle to make the paint, the varnish. And the same thing happened to your sides, only from coffee grains that were recycled. So everything that comes back to life, and new experimental material that were used. Now, in this journey, we are not alone. And what I mean by that is that if you look up, you see this installation. It's a chandelier by Bulgari, the Italian Maison. And it's a smart chandelier because it lights up whenever there are people that are going under it. So let's say use it a mirroring system to connect the visitors. After all, let's say one of the themes given by EXPO was connecting people and creating the future, and we'll see about creating the future. Also, it's an homage to the United Arab Emirates because we have 50 golden chandeliers divided into 7 groups horizontally. So 7 Emirates that celebrated 50 years of history together this December as the Golden Jubilee, and so we wanted to pay homage to the country that is hosting us. They are made from recycled plastic, and that we're under 3 halves. You see the second one right here. So the bottom part of the boat, only upside down. Yeah, exactly. This wavy part of the boat, this wavy part of the roof, it's not a boat, but it connects the first 2 halves. So the second one, and this wavy part, first of all, is made from a new polymer, a new plastic polymer that is 100% recyclable. Again, it's wavy because it reminds us of the wave of the ocean or a dune of sand. So again, the theme of the journey. So we have mobility and sustainability in one thing. And as we go forward, what you see here is the block engine and a propeller, obviously one-to-one scale reproduction of what we call convertiplano. So helicopter and airplane that come together and that can be used for medical rescues especially because it has the benefits of both of the vehicles. And so the idea was to show you, an example of Italian innovation, because the other thing that we mentioned was not just connecting people, but also creating the future. That's the future right now. And now we're under the third of the three halls. And under the third, it started with an homage to the genius of mathematics, Fibonacci. So the numbers that you see on the columns, that's the Fibonacci series. Every number, the sum of the two previous numbers. What happens is that those numbers were used, first of all, they were found in nature. So shells, sunflowers, they all follow the same proportions, this series. And it represents the beauty, the perfection of nature. Also, they were used to change the culture from field to field. So what happens is that it's connected to the tanks that you see right there. We will discover what it is exactly, but let's just say that we are cultivating something in the tanks. And what we are cultivating is the secret that allows our pavilion to breathe. Also, in that secret, we have a lab, the lab that you see right there. That's a lab from the Italian company Tolo Green. And that makes us the only pavilion in the whole of EXPO that has a working lab, let's say, operating 24/7 for research purposes. The black and white video that you see on the LED wall is from the award-winning director Gabriele Salvatore, and let's say it shows the beauty and the authenticity of tradition that have been going on for centuries in Italy and that will go on for centuries, so that's why we have a black and white video. So, in the tanks, as you can see, we have these colors. They're not just two of the colors of our flag. We have two different microalgae that are being cultivated. So we have Hematococcus, the red-orange one, and then we have Spirulina, the green one. And the two colors actually come from the algae themselves, so we didn't dye the water this way. Now, the two microalgae are able to transform part of the CO2 that's produced inside the pavilion into oxygen. So the bubbles that you see inside the tanks, that's air filled with CO2 that we take from the pavilion through a filtering system. We pump it inside, we let the two microalgae transform the CO2 into oxygen, and then we take the oxygen and we put it back inside the pavilion. So we don't need an air conditioning system because we're an open pavilion, that wouldn't make much sense, but we need, let's say, the most natural possible air purifying system, and this is it. And the lab that you saw before, Tolo Green, they allow this whole process to happen by keeping the algae alive. And as we go forward, so, welcome to the Belvedere, the place of the beauty, because that's after all what Belvedere means. And the videos that surround you, they're all from Gabriele Salvatore, the same that made the video you saw outside. And they show you the beauty of our landscapes and our regions. So in this case we have the region Puglia, in the south of Italy. Now, we didn't just want to show you the beauty of the landscapes, we wanted to do it in a place that combines different architectures from Italy. So we have the dry walls on outside you saw before, we have the wood that surrounds you, and that is, it reminds us of a studio from the Renaissance period. And if you look up, we have a dome and an eye and oculus, so that reminds us of the Pantheon that we have in Rome. The last detail is that if you look down, you see that we have these circles with the different arrows. That's a windrose, so another navigation tool that, it continues the journey and at the same time it's connected to the theme of mobility. Now, we can go forward. So, as I mentioned, we wanted to show you the beauty of our country. We wanted to show you the tradition, but it's not possible to talk about it's not possible to talk about what comes next, what the future of Italy is, without understanding the deep connection that we have within tradition and innovation. So, if you come with me, what you see here let's say this is a space where we wanted to reproduce a typical vegetable garden you can find in any Italian home, but with a more technological heart. So the idea was to do an experiment, see what kind of plants can survive here given the wise weather, the heat, the electrification. But what we do is that we do an experiment, and so we need to gather the information. So we use what you see here. There are also some of them attached to those branches. These are called bioregisters. They're sensors that, let's say, record the resistance of the lymph that's flowing inside the branches. In other words, they understand if the plants need light, water, sodium, potassium, whatever they need. And this data is sent to the lab we have in Parma, and Parma sends back a response and tells exactly how much water we need to give to each plant, or if you want, how do we have to intervene. And you can understand the benefits of a technology like this, because that would mean that all the resources, especially water resources, that we're now wasting for different cultures, can be used better or towards something else. And also with this place, we wanted to shift the focus a little bit. So we focused on the landscapes, on the beauty, on the country, on the culture, but we didn't focus on the main thing, us. I mean, who does the journey? Who is actually traveling? Us, women, men, humans. And so we have a biological garden, and we have this installation, this humanoid installation. It's called The Beauty of Imaging. And the idea with this is that it's from a pharmaceutical company from Italy, Bracco, and they work with imaging, so the scanning of the human body to understand if there are any diseases. And so what better way of, let's say, reshifting the focus on men, if not through a statue like this, that comes from a very old tradition, so from Greek statues, and so it's connected to the David we will see inside the theater. And so we can go inside the theater, the columns, or the monastery of Santa Chiara from Naples in the center. But it's just, a place to rest also. And we can enter the theater. So, I will stay here to explain. You can go wherever you want in the theater. Theater of Memory, the House of the David by Michelangelo Buonarroti. This is obviously not the original, it's a copy, but it's a 3D print. So the process started with the university we have in Florence. They had to scan the original, and they were able to scan the original only because the gallery where the original is was closed due to COVID. Otherwise they couldn't have done that. Then it was printed out in 14 different pieces that were assembled. And this is all made of resins and filaments of plastic that were recycled. Then they had to cover it with a paste or dust from marble, the material of the original, because restoration masters had to handmade all the signs, all the imperfections that you see on there to give you a faithful copy. Now, what happens is that this is the only place. To relax, it's a very lively pavilion. The last installation is from a national railway company. I won't tell you anything about it, I just want to let you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the visit, and thank you for listening.
you.